When did I move that around? Okay, that's a little better, I guess. Hey, and testing. Here we go again. Hi there. Welcome, everybody, once again to Cast Iron Wednesday. And this is a tradition we've been doing now for, well, good grief, the last several years on YouTube, actually. A lot of YouTube cooking channels have had a tradition of doing a cast iron video on Wednesday because, well, why not? It's a nice thing to do. It certainly serves as filler, and it gives us something to look forward to, knowing that we're going to be playing with cast iron here. And yeah. On my channel, I've actually been doing this now for a little more than 2.5 years. And somehow, almost every week, we've managed to do a live video. And well, people seem to like the cast iron here on this live well enough that they've been showing up every week. And as always, I am very grateful, really, for everybody who shows up here each Wednesday night. We've got quite a few regulars. If you're a new comer to this channel, well, welcome and welcome to my kitchen and welcome again here to YouTube Live and this little chat room that we have every Wednesday night. And hello as well to regular folks who I've seen show up week after week. And thank you again for showing up. Folks like Rick Stumbo and Jim 44 and Cynthia Wesley. Nesh's River Catfishing and Val's Black Cats Rules. Hello, everybody. Hello to RT Scott and Old Farm Show. I think you're a new person, so thank you, welcome, and thank you very much for stopping by. Especially since we are going to be. In fact, I forgot to turn on the oven. My bad. I better turn this on right now. There we go. Yeah, something unexpected always seems to happen. And well, I haven't died yet, so we'll just keep on going like this every Wednesday. But yes, thank you, everybody, again for being here because we are doing something nice and simple tonight. As I mentioned, cooking some hot dogs here in cast iron. Yeah, that's not exactly earth shattering, I guess, but it's really something I've wanted to do these last couple of weeks since I went on a road trip to Chicago just about three, I think God, 3 weeks already. 3 weeks ago tonight. No, I think it was 2 weeks. Either way, the point being is that, my employer sent me on a road trip to Chicago 2 weeks ago, where I had a first chance. It was really my first job in the Windy City. And the job was, well, not too difficult, but I even had a little bit of time to relax and sample the local cuisine. Because, of course, the idea, really, the best way to have fun on a road trip is to eat local. And well, that means I was in Chicago. And so, the funny thing is, everybody talks about Chicago deep dish pizza. And I learned that Chicago deep dish pizza is really something of a tourist attraction. The pizza that everybody talks about, which is a really deep dish crust, and it has the cheese on the bottom and the sauce on the top, and it's delicious. And I've made it for several times myself. So, but on the other hand, funny thing is, until 2 weeks ago, I really had not heard much about Chicago hot dogs. And that seems to be one of those little delicacies that people in Chicago know about, and anybody outside of Chicago, no one has heard of them. Because as Pipgorn says, I got Chicago hot dogs from Sonic because I don't have the ingredients at home. Yeah, that's the thing. They use these really weird ingredients of the kind that really you can find them in Chicago and just about nowhere else in the country. Of course, just about wherever you go, if you eat local, I think you could say the same thing, that there's at least one kind of food that everybody knows about locally and nobody has ever heard about it anywhere else. Like, for instance, the time I went to Cincinnati and tried Cincinnati chili, because who had ever heard of chili being served on spaghetti? And yet that's how they do it there in Cincinnati, for instance. And I certainly enjoyed it. And so it is as well with Chicago, where when you have a Chicago hot dog, you're definitely having something that you've never had anywhere else. And that's not a bad thing either. So besides, everybody has, even though, again, we all love our pizza and we've got different kinds of styles of pizza all over the country, including in Chicago, but likewise, we all love our hot dogs. Yeah, and hot dogs really have got something of a bad reputation because they're hot dogs. I mean, whoop-de-doo. What's the big deal about hot dogs? They're essentially a cheap kind of sausage. They're the type of thing that you're not so, yeah, that we're supposed to turn our nose down. Oh, it's a hot dog. Big deal. Me, I'm just cooking steak in my cast iron. How dare you suggest I cook hot dogs? Yeah. Yeah, right. Except that, of course, hot dogs are easy to make, they're cheap, and they're delicious too. And everybody has their own local brand. For instance, yeah, now that I'm living here in New York, for instance, it had better be Sabret's hot dogs or nothing else. Likewise, over in New England, we had Fenway Franks, and in Chicago, they've got Chicago hot dogs, which apparently Vienna hot dogs are supposed to be the one that you should really have. Um, but unfortunately, because hot dogs are, because local hot dogs are just that local, it's a lot harder to find the ingredients if you're anywhere else in the country. So, yeah, as Keith Brookser says, I love hot dogs cooked in butter. Absolutely. Yeah, and what about Louisiana? I haven't been to Louisiana yet, unfortunately. That's one of those things I still have to do, I'm sorry to say. So I am Turner Fowler. I finished up with my leftovers. I cooked up hamburgers yesterday. Hello, never done a hot dog in cast iron, but did reheat a burrito. Well, that's the thing, is that I like cooking hot dogs in cast iron. And in fact, that's what I'm doing tonight as well, because really, once you've cooked hot dogs in a cast iron pan, you will never, and I mean never, be satisfied with boiled hot dogs ever again. I mean, really, searing a hot dog in a pan just really gives it just so much more flavor. And I have to say that's the same thing with Chicago hot dogs. But here's the thing, is that Chicago, even though supposedly the official Chicago hot dog is supposed to be uh, steamed in a, rather than actually boiled, a lot of people like their hot dogs grilled as well. And so I'm certainly not ashamed to cook in a nice vintage cast iron pan, which we'll be seeing tonight. Will you put hot dogs in the crawfish? But I like boiled crawfish hot dogs. I guess you must be talking about Louisiana, I think. So, hello, Bets, greetings. And well, I hope your family visit was fun. No matter the hot dog, you must use a spicy brown mustard, not yellow. Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing about Chicago hot dogs. They've got this really weird ingredient list, and because of this, I actually had to order some of these online. So I guess we'll get started that way. And then the first thing I have to do actually is prepare the poppy seed hot dog buns. So yeah, that's the start. But nonetheless, I actually had to order some of these things online to get the proper ingredients for a Chicago hot dog. And what I ordered was from Vienna, the maker of the Chicago hot dogs. They've got a Chicago hot dog pack, which is where you order them and they send you a box with 4 ingredients. I mean, yes, look at this. We actually have yellow mustard. But I mean, of course, you can find yellow mustard anywhere. And I guess you could say that's really not that uncommon. And here's another thing they especially have to put on a Vienna hot dog, and that is, I'm sorry, a Chicago hot dog, and that's celery salt. And celery salt is easy to get too as well. I have celery salt. But now, thanks to this container, I've got a ton of celery salt that I'm going to have to be using for like the rest of my life. But then we get into the 2 ingredients here that are definitely unique to Chicago. And if you don't have these, and you really don't have a Chicago hot dog. Hello, Cynthia as well, and Turner Fowler and Mudbrooker. Hello to the Mudbrooker. Yeah. Here's something that you may not have seen outside of Chicago: sport peppers. Apparently, it's not a real Chicago hot dog if you don't have sport peppers. And yet, apparently, even in Chicago, a lot of people don't have these peppers on their hot dogs. I looked up these kind of peppers, and they are actually a unique brand of pepper. They're not just other peppers rebranded as sport peppers, although they are close to pepperoncinis. Apparently, these are a little bit spicier than pepperoncinis. But if you wanted to prepare your own hot dogs, Chicago hot dogs using local ingredients, if you put pepperoncinis in it, then that should certainly work. But then we get into the other thing that is truly unique to Chicago, and that would be Chicago relish. And there is definitely something to be said about this relish, because this relish here has there's a color to this relish that this thing practically looks like neon green relish. It looks like green jello. Or I guess you could say I haven't seen a style of neon green like this since the 1980s. So, and yet this is the type of relish that they're supposed to put on Chicago hot dogs. I looked up the ingredients. Well, yeah, here are the ingredients, in fact, and here's the trick. It's a typical relish, in fact. You know, you got your cucumbers, your vinegar, a little bit of salt, spices, sugar. There's a little bit of red peppers in here, but there's one thing that is in here to give it this weird food, this weird color, and that's actually blue dye. So we've got blue food coloring, meaning that if you wanted to make Chicago style relish, you could do it by taking some blue food coloring and mixing it in with your regular store-bought relish, and you would have some Chicago style relish. So, hello as well to Granny Graham and Billy Lee Lawton. So, I put celery seed on the slaw as well. So, okay, I guess enough talking. But yeah, the last thing, or actually the first thing we need to do here to prepare some Chicago style hot dogs, which I had never heard of before now as well. And that is that you've got your hot dog buns, but really hot dog buns, they have to be poppy seed buns. They actually put a coating of poppy seeds on their hot dog buns, especially to give it a little bit of crunch and some flavor. However, I found out that these things are very easy to simulate somewhere else. Basically, in fact, as I said, instead of just talking on and on and on, let's do some action and try to do something here. Because all I really need to do, let me put my phone to one side so I don't do anything bad to it. All I really need to do is simply make an egg wash and brush it on the sides of these. I'm going to be using this BSR number 10 skillet essentially as a baking sheet, because why not? I mean, after all, we're supposed to see cast iron tonight, and I certainly wanted any excuse at all to use my cast iron is a good excuse. So let's dig out a couple of these, shall we? And I'll kind of cheat and use the ends so that I have at least one true end piece here. There's 2, and here's 4. And I am trying to get this as quickly as I can. All right, and like I said, these are top split hot dogs. We need that because we're going to be putting a whole lot of stuff into these dogs. So let us quickly do ourselves an egg here. All right, try to put the egg in the bowl and not in the trash, which I did at least once. Oops, and there it goes. Here we go again. Little bit of shell once again. Well, that fortunately was not hard to fish out. Oh, yeah, except that it went right back in again. There we go. Now we got it. Okay, now all we have to really do is put an egg wash on the outside of these dogs, and then we'll be able to coat them with poppy seeds. And then there we go. We will bake these in the oven at 300 degrees. It only takes a few minutes because all we're really trying to do is just that, put a poppy seed crust on the outside of these dogs. So, or these buns rather. So this is really not that hard. Here's one, and here's the other side. No, I think I should probably put the seeds on immediately. Okay, so we'll do it that way. All right, come on, you always forget something. Yeah, it's a new container of poppy seeds. I really didn't have a use for poppy seeds, and I just got these just for tonight. Come on, you know what? Yeah, there we go. Oh boy. Oh, I know. This is a safety seal, so I can't really complain too much, can I? All right, there we go. And probably the easiest way to do this actually is I'm doing it backwards. Let's put these things here. There we go, poppy seeds. And we'll just dip one side and the other side. There we go. There's one. This shouldn't take too long. Here's two. And as you can see, I'm being nice and neat and splashing egg all over the place, because why not? All right, and here's two. All right, there we go. Once again, these are poppy seeds, so that's why they look black. Here comes number three. And like I said, all I have to do is bake these in the oven for a few minutes, because these are, of course, pre-made hot dog buns. Of course, you could bake them from scratch too, but that's one of many things I have yet to do yet. My baking skills are just barely a beginner. So, yeah, hot dog buns are one thing I still have to make by myself. So until then, we will be satisfied with good old store-bought hot dog buns. And finally, number four. Come on, let's do this right, shall we? And a little bit here. There we go. More or less. Okay. Try not to squish the buns while we're at it. Here. There we go. Rinse my hands. And let's get this in the oven as quickly as we can. Yeah, it's moments like this. It's kind of like, I guess this is what those live cooking shows in the 1950s were like. There we go. Okay, and I have the oven set, by the way, just to 300 degrees. All I really need to do is keep that in there for a few minutes at 300 degrees, and that should be enough to give these hot dog buns a nice poppy seed crust. Oh yeah, exactly. This is going to be different. Believe me, my jaw dropped when I learned about these things, because yeah, this is definitely something different. And here's where I'm so glad that not only, as I've said many times now, that I like eating locally. And by the way, time to start heating up this cast iron pan here. And it doesn't even have to be very hot. But yeah, that's the other thing is I've said many times, oh, yeah, this actually, by the way, is entirely on the surface. It's just a skin. Basically, last week I was cooking. What did I cook in the oven? Oh, yeah, that was when I made my cast iron chicken. You know, that short video I did last week when when I cooked when I put two cast iron pans at 500 degrees and cooked the chicken between them. And the chicken came out terrific, by the way. If you've seen, check out my short videos for that for that cast iron chicken. That was really great, and I'm so happy with how that turned out. But anyway, as I was reaching into the oven, even though I had gloves on, my arm just barely touched the oven rack, the 500-degree oven rack. And the funny thing is that it barely hurt. Yes, it definitely gave me a burn. There's no question about that. But as I said, it barely hurt me at all. And in fact, only over the last couple of days or so has this started to look like this. It does not hurt. It is not seeping liquid or pus or anything like that. So this is entirely on the surface. This is one of those skin burns. Kind of like the time years ago when I fell down a flight of stairs and I got rug burns on my arms. You know what rug burns are like? Those really nasty looking gashes that, again, are entirely on the surface. So once the scab goes away in a couple of days or so, I'm going to be fine. So no, this really does not hurt. Yeah, 500 degrees will leave a mark. It definitely left a mark. But as I said, it doesn't even hurt. So I'm not worried about it at all. Anyway, you need to slide out the oven rack before you remove a skillet. Yes, thank you for telling me that. I certainly learned that all too well. So, but anyway, now, as I mentioned already, it's only going to take a few minutes. The other thing is I've got this one here heating up at just barely, really, I'm just under minimum heat here. We don't have to heat these hot dogs, not minimum, medium heat. Who am I kidding? We don't have to heat these hot dogs up very much. That's the thing I learned about cooking hot dogs in cast iron. Because yes, it is. You do need to understand a couple of things about cooking hot dogs. It's not rocket science, and yes, anyone can do it. But hot dogs are pre-cooked. You could literally eat them right out of the package. So, not that I've ever done that. I'm certainly not saying that. Right. But because of that, all you really need to do is heat them up in the pan. So if you heat your pan up too hot, if you get your pan blasting hot, like the kind that you could sear a steak with, for instance, and you put a hot dog in that kind of pan, what you're going to end up doing is blackening and burning the outside, and the inside, on the other hand, is still going to be cold. So instead, you don't want to heat your pan too high. That way, you'll be able to cook the inside of the hot dog, and the outside will not be burned. So, speaking of which, this part is not hot yet. I'm starting to feel some heat here. So this, by the way, I've brought this pan out a couple of times, and let's take a look at this pan. By the way, this is what they call a fancy handle gate mark cast iron skillet. This was made in the 19th century, the 1800s, and they're actually quite well known to people who know about check the buns. Well, I could check the buns. I could probably do like maybe a couple of minutes or so. I don't think there'll be a problem with that. But anyway, this was known with, as I said, folks who know gate-marked cast iron skillets are pretty familiar with these, and they call these fancy handle pans, as you can see. It seemed like every different size pan had a different type of handle on them. And this thing is also gate marked, unquestionably like that. It's also definitely a spinner. And it's also one of the thinnest cast iron pans I've been fortunate enough to own. So even though this is a number 9 size, this is definitely much lighter than your typical modern day cast iron skillet. So anyway, yeah, just heating this up barely so that we can just cook ourselves some hot dogs. And finally, I guess it's time to mention the hot dogs. Now, like I said, if you want a true Chicago hot dog, you want Vienna hot dogs, but they don't have Vienna hot dogs here in New York. Sabrett hot dogs are all over the place, but folks in Chicago would probably be upset. You're not using New York hot dogs to make Chicago hot dogs, are you? It's one of those things. So I'm kind of compromising. And we've got a nice, they definitely have to be beef hot dogs though. I mean, really, you can use any kind of hot dog. You can use your chicken, pork hot dogs if you want, or you can even use veggie hot dogs if you want. But you know what they say, if you really want to be authentic, then they should be beef hot dogs. So I made sure to do that. And as I said, Nathan's are a good brand anyway. So we'll be getting these ready here. Yes, ma'am. I mean it seriously. I guess they need it more than me. I'm pretty sure who to deny it. I'm not sure. Yeah, throwaway pans for buying a stove range. Yes, that's exactly what these were. In fact, back then during the, I can turn this down a little bit. In fact, this is already starting to smoke. That didn't take long. Back then in the, oh, did I forget my, oh no, here it is. This will do. I thought I actually forgot a something to cook the hot dogs with. Anyway, but yes, back during the 1800s, um, it's true that wood burning stoves had just been introduced in the middle 1800s, and they became a really big hit. Because after all, they changed the face of cooking forever. So that every stove, every family had to have a cooking stove, and they basically stopped making fireplaces for cooking. So they were definitely popular. Stove manufacturers did everything they could to try to sell their stoves, and that included, there we go, and that included giving away a free set of cast iron cookware anytime you bought a stove, and that's exactly where a lot of these gate mark pieces come from. 1, 2, oops, careful, that's butter. My bad. 3, 4, 5. Am I counting this right? There were only 5 hot dogs in this? Sheesh. Boy, I didn't even notice that. I thought there were at least 6. But okay. So yes, it's true that they included a set of cast iron pots and pans as a complimentary accessory when you bought a stove. And of course, it depended on the manufacturer and the store that was selling them as to what you got. You might get a skillet, you might get a whole set. You might get a big skillet, a small skillet, a griddle, or even a kettle, to use as a stock pot. So it really depended. But yes, it's true. They were considered to be throwaway items. That's one reason why they made these things so thin, and why they didn't put a manufacturer's mark on them either. Because they were just that. They were considered to be cheap and disposable. So they really didn't care too much about them. But nonetheless, because these things were made of cast iron, even though they were supposed to be disposable, people just kept on using them. And that's and quite a few of these things have survived even now, even up to like about 150 years later. That's why it's still so easy to find these unknown gate marked cast iron pans, even at flea markets, and antique stores and the like. So in fact, just because they're from the 1800s, a lot of antique vendors naturally give them a ridiculously high price. Rare, vintage, Civil War era, 19th century cast iron skillet, only $125 for something that actually came for free. But if if you're patient, you're almost certain at some point or another to find yourself a good bargain on one of these gate mark skillets one of these days. You never know when you'll come across it. This one, for instance, I think I told my story already, in that I found this at the Brimfield Antique Show. And in fact, this had a Griswold number 9 lid sitting on top of it. And I know I told this story before. And I paid the seller a total of $25 for the lid plus the pan. And in fact, he really didn't care about the pan either. He told me most of what I was paying was for the lid. so even he didn't think much about this pan. But I certainly am glad to own it. And yeah, now I need a guard goose. Oh, yeah, they bite. Guess geese for watchdog. Turner, I hope it blows up like an overstuffed box of cast iron. Right about now, I should probably consider taking those buns out, in fact. So let's do that. Let's get this out of here. Because, again, all I really needed to do is heat this up. Oh, yeah, this looks pretty nice. So there we go. Like I said, those are poppy seeds there on the outside. Let me put them over there. But yeah, I got the cord tangled up. That's why this is swinging all over the place. Anyway, here they are again, our poppy seed buns. And yeah, I had never heard of poppy seed hot dog buns either until I learned about Chicago hot dogs. And that was why I simply felt I've got to give these a try, at least once. That's the other thing about trying things. I mean, even if I end up not liking them, I can at least say I tried them. So there's really nothing to it. In fact, once these things are done, all we really need to do is to just lay them out. So this is really not taking very long, is it? Nonetheless, I am, but don't worry, I'm not going to cut this short. I mean, granted, it has already been half an hour because I've been talking so long. But even so, I mean, feel free, as I say every time, by the way, I need to find those buns. Those buns, the poppy seed buns, yeah, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to find them outside of Chicago. But those particular buns are Pepperidge Farm hot dog buns, split top hot dog buns. So, and I just got them at Price Chopper. Really, they were not difficult to find either. I also found out here in New York that they sell split top buns and they call them New England style hot dog buns. Which again, I'm proud of my New England heritage because that means, yeah, they're the right kind of hot dog buns and they call them New England. So I'm certainly not upset with that. Other than that, as I said, feel free, as always, by the way, folks, to put out pretty much any questions you want regarding cast iron or cast iron cooking, whether or not they have to do with hot dogs. Well, I mean, hot dog cooking, of course, is good, but as I said, we are very much encourage people to ask and answer questions. So again, don't be shy about that as well. And after all, this is not going to take very long. This is, as it turns out, is a pretty easy dish tonight. I will admit that. Some of these times on Cast Iron Wednesday, it's taken the whole video just to get a dish going. Like that time when I made corned beef at the beginning of the month, for instance. Even so, these hot dogs are probably almost done already. I probably should have split them, in fact, before I put them in the pan. You know, it's probably not too late. Let me dig out a knife here. Just very lightly. There we go. Nothing to it. Maybe one more. There we go. Now no one will know I've waited until the last minute to do that. And the reason why we do that is twofold. Because one, it helps cook the insides. And two, if you've got cheaper hot dogs, as you know, those cheaper hot dogs will just explode or split on their own. And putting slits in them will prevent them from doing that, you know, because it'll loosen the pressure. Speaking of which, I like cheap hot dogs. I am not ashamed to say that. All my life in our family, we have had cheap hot dogs, you know, the dollar store kind of hot dogs, and I don't mind them. My favorite brand of the dollar store hot dogs is Bar S, and they are not paying me to say that. And I'm betting somebody is going to reply to that in the chat, probably with a little throwing up or puking icon. Well, to each their own. I won't stop you from doing that. All I can say is I like the taste of their hot dogs, and I am not ashamed to say so. I hope he's doing well. Yes, exactly. It couldn't come. What? Hold on. What did I do? Oh, I opened up another tab. That's what I did. No big deal. Let's close that. There we go. Bar S dogs are good. Yeah, I think so as well. So, yeah, I would say these things are probably almost done already. That sure didn't take long. As some folks probably know, one of maybe like the third most popular video on my channel is, in fact, this video I made of cooking hot dogs in a cast iron pan. Some of the comments on that are pretty interesting. It's like, you really need a video to teach people how to cook hot dogs? How stupid do you have to be to learn to watch a video to cook hot dogs? And quite frankly, yes, that's insulting. Because indeed, I mean, besides the fact that we live in an era where people just grow up on microwaves, I was like that, as I told you, until I learned how to cook. I think it's time to turn this off. So, and really, in this day and age, quite frankly, there's still no shame with that. I mean, after all, there's no reason why you couldn't live with Walmart food your entire life. Doing it yourself is much better than Walmart food. That's one good reason to learn how to cook. But even so, that's what I mean. Just simply easily cooking these hot dogs in butter, that really helps to enhance the taste. What about Hebrew National? Yeah, they had Hebrew National there too. I could have gotten those. I think the real reason is these were like about 50 cents cheaper. So, and that can still make a difference. Bar S has been promoted by a lot of chefs. Well, congratulations to them. Sometimes I slice the hot dogs in half the long way before frying, and that works as well. I remember stories of kids in the 90s going to college not knowing how to use anything but a microwave. Oh, they're still like that. I don't doubt it. I wonder though, since cooking has really has really made a comeback in the last decade or so, not just cast iron cooking, but cooking in general. Hopefully, there are a lot more kids these days now who know how to cook than there were maybe 20 years ago. I hope. I give a lot of credit, by the way, for the renaissance in cooking and cast iron. I give a lot of credit to celebrity chefs. I honestly think, like it or not, reality TV shows have really enhanced the image of home cooks and chefs. Whether or not you like them, and regrettably, they're popular. That's really the thing, is that they affect a lot of people. For instance, one of the stupidest reality TV shows I've ever seen was Survivor. I could not get into it. And yet Survivor was so popular that really it's had an effect on people, because everybody knows what it means to be voted off the island, for instance, and that comes from Survivor. So it is as well with celebrity chefs. Because, yeah, well, what can you say? Like it or not, here we go again with the unfortunate misogyny and chauvinism, namely that now there are a lot more male celebrity chefs than there used to be. There always were male celebrity chefs, yes, like the Cookin' Cajun or the Frugal Gourmet. Yes, we've always had male celebrity chefs. Now, of course, we've got much flashier celebrity chefs. And they're the kinds who are always pushing cooking in cast iron. So that's certainly the case. And I do feel this has had an effect and made it a lot more acceptable to kids, like it or not, to learn how to cook. So it may not be the best way, but I feel that whether I agree with it or not, I think that's probably what happened. Nonetheless, there we are with some nice and easy cooked hot dogs, and that sure didn't take long either. Fried spam is the best. Yeah, actually, yes. If you fry spam, it's actually pretty darn good. Those folks in Hawaii know what they're talking about there. Come on, I'm trying to close this. There we go. We got a thick bologna steak was the only steak we got as kids. Oh yeah, fried bologna, no question about that. So anyway, that means now that this part's ready, we're actually already ready to get ourselves a couple of Chicago hot dogs. Oh, this is going to be interesting. All right, let's move away from here. Let me make sure here. The the oven's not off yet. There, turn that off. There we go. Now we can move away from the oven. And I've got this cable caught up here. So here we go again. You get to see more of my kitchen that way. Anyway, here comes the fun part. Let's move this down a little bit so that I can, there we go, more or less. All right, now comes the easy part, of course. Let's get out a couple of our poppy seed buns. That's the first thing. Like I said, I had never heard of poppy seed buns until I learned about Chicago hot dogs. Of course, I had also never heard of sport peppers either. So, oh good, this is not hot. Okay, I can manage this now. Maybe not. Okay, change my mind. Let's get that pot holder here. I'm talking about this cast iron pan here. Here we are. All right, let's put in a couple of dogs. Let's do this one and this one. Yeah, this is why, as I said, I am never going to be settled for boiled hot dogs ever again. I mean, even now, all I've done is simply put the hot dog in the bun. And look at this. This, quite frankly, I have to say, and I'm trying not to brag, but just frying it in a cast iron pan, just that alone makes it look so good. So now comes the additional stuff. And that means, here we go. First up would be our yellow mustard. Yeah, like it or not, we are using yellow mustard. Yes, you can use brown mustard if you want. You know, there's no law. You're not going to get arrested if you make a Chicago hot dog with brown mustard. So I'm just trying to be authentic here. The YouTube comments are going to be interesting. I have no doubt about that. And come on. Boy, doesn't that sound pleasant. Let's shake this up a little bit. There we go. Let's try that again. There we go. That's a little better. That's how you're supposed to do it. And maybe a little more there. Okay. Then from here, we put on, let me see. How are we supposed to do this? Now, on one side of this, somehow we're supposed to find room to put tomato wedges. They have to be wedges. They cannot be thin sliced tomatoes. They have to be wedges. I like yellow mustard. Okay, there's one. I did say tomato wedges, not potato wedges, right? And here comes the other. All right, tomato wedges. That's on one side. On the other side, on the other hand, we have to put in dill pickles. And they have to be, dill pickle spears too. So I suppose you could probably use other flavored pickles, although again, I'm sure folks from Chicago will frown on that. Boy, there's so much stuff here, it frankly drowns out the hot dog, it seems like. Because look at this. It's like we got a spear that's the size of the hot dog itself. So there you go. I mean, if you prefer to be, if you like veggies, there's a lot of veggies in this. I mean, look at this. We got all this tomato and all of this. Now I definitely have to wash my hands again. All right, there we go. Because we're not done yet, we've got a couple more ingredients to go. All right. So from here, in fact, let's move down a little bit so you can see this a little more closely, shall we? There we go. Hopefully that's a little better. Anyway, we're not done yet. Next, we got to put on some raw onions, and they have to be raw, not cooked. Much as I like the caramelized onions, apparently We have to have the crunch of raw onions on this. And now comes the really weird part. Remember what I mentioned before? Chicago relish. Oh no. Yeah, this is something I'm looking forward to. I mean, seriously, look at this. I swear this stuff looks like Jello. In fact, I better get a knife or something. Here it is. And throw on a little bit of relish here. All right, I've got to try some of this relish to see what it tastes like. You know what? It tastes exactly like relish. It's got a nice bit of spice in it. There is red pepper in it, but it does not have any kind of a weird taste. It does not taste like Jello. All it is relish with that they threw some food coloring in. So yeah, if you want to make your own Chicago hot dogs and you want to use your regular relish, you can do so. It's the exact same taste. There's really nothing weird about this, which is good. That means I'll be able to use the rest of this relish. I'm not gonna throw it out or anything like that. So I will give a thumbs up to this Chicago relish. Though maybe I should shine this under a black light to see what it looks like. Okay, finally, in the midst of all this, we still have more veggies. You see, one hot dog and a whole ton of veggies on here. I mean, you folks who are veggie would probably really like this for that reason. And the last thing are sport peppers. So, this is what I mean. Look at this. It drowns out the hot dog. You can't even see the hot dog anymore. All right, there we are with our peppers. And yeah, we have to serve the peppers like this too. We don't cook the peppers. Yeah. Where did I put that lid from the dill pickles? Because I don't want to spill it all over the place. And finally, last but not least, celery salt. And this is the other weird thing. I mean, even though we all know about celery salt, who outside of Chicago has ever had celery salt on a hot dog? So this is definitely a unique flavor. I can certainly say that. Just sprinkle it on, I guess. So this is definitely a flavor that I don't think you're going to taste anywhere else. But there it is. Look at that. And I actually somehow managed to make it fit. On the other hand, getting this thing into my mouth is going to be an adventure too. Yeah, say what you like about that. Still, okay, let me check a couple of comments here because I've been busy again. Good grief, that's a huge hot dog. Yes, it is, isn't it, though? So, yeah, I'm out on these hot dogs. He's got a hot mess. Yeah, Turner Fowler, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. All I'm doing is following the recipe that you're supposed to follow for Chicago hot dogs. I'm not making this up. Look it up yourself. I mean, this is crazy. I am agreeing with you on that. This is crazy. Pack of hot dogs will feed for a week in this way. I'm not just, again, I am agreeing with everything you folks are saying here. That bun needs sideboards. Yeah, I don't blame you at all. Gonna have to eat that with a knife and fork. Yes, exactly. My mom used to put celery salt on tomatoes. You have to have tomatoes on the dog, I guess. It makes sense. I like big buns, and I cannot lie. All right. Now comes the fun part. Obviously, if I don't eat this thing on cam, you folks are going to be disappointed. There's just no way around this. Am I wrong? I know for a fact I'm not wrong. Let me step back here. There we go. All right, so somehow I'm gonna try to take a bite of all this. The poppy seeds, the peppers, the tomato, the celery salt. Here it is once again. Boy, this smells interesting. That's what I mean. I can barely even smell the hot dog with all of these vegetables on it. But here goes nothing. Mm. Mm. Some of the pepper, I'm being honest. Mm. 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 You know what? I like it. This is pretty darn good. I was afraid it would be so spicy it would just destroy the inside of my mouth. But no, this is actually pretty damn good. Pepper and all. Some people don't use the peppers. I'm not complaining about the peppers. Mm. Mm. I'm getting it all over my hands. But then again, if you go to any ball game and have any hot dog, when do you not get it all over your hands? Mm. But you know what? I'm giving this a thumbs up. I like it. The peppers are giving a little bit of heat. Sorry, I spit something out. The peppers are giving a little bit of heat to the back of my mouth. It's not burning my mouth. We've got all these veggies in here, all these cool veggies, these tomatoes, the pickles, the relish, and the onions. So I would say that would probably be canceling out the heat from the peppers. And yeah, I'm liking this. Hmm. Despite the fact that I'm getting it all over my hands, I'm not denying that either. Feel free to make any comments you want about making a mess because I am making a mess. I'm agreeing with you there too. But mm, I'm enjoying this a lot more than I expected. Mm, mm, mm-hmm, mm. I've got to give a thumbs up to Chicago for this. You guys have got a winner. Mm. And of course, is it better than New York hot dogs or Boston hot dogs? I'm not going to answer that. It's different, but now I gotta wash my hands. Oh yeah, but mm, there we go. Okay, um, towel. All right, but again, I honestly thought that huge mass of food. I honestly thought, yeah, it was going to destroy my mouth. I thought those peppers were going to burn my tongue off. I thought I wasn't going to taste the hot dog at all because it's smothered in all of that stuff, the mustard, the celery salt, the relish, and all the rest of that. It works. It actually works. I can't believe it. Okay, folks, yes, I'm giving it a thumbs up, and I am saying one of these days, give it a try. You may not have to go out of your way and get sport peppers and neon green radioactive relish, excuse me, but you can substitute. Use pepperoncini peppers for the peppers, use regular relish for the relish. But I like it. I liked it a lot more than I thought. So I am very pleasantly surprised. And yet again, this only goes with all of the other times where I'll shut up now and then we'll get back to some questions. Where I will say one last time, when you go on a road trip, eat local and you will be pleasantly surprised. This proves it yet again. So there we go. All right. All right. Let's do this. Let's take a look at the cast iron pan, shall we? Here it is. We've got again. We've got the gate marked. Let me pull down the view here. On one side, we have the gate marked fancy handle skillet, and in the back, we've got a BSR Century number 10. So, anyway, To each their own, making a mess makes it taste better. Yes, exactly. Was the Chicago Authentic Kit expensive? You probably would think so, yes. In fact, the cheapest one I could find was like about $18, and that included shipping. So I am not going to say that if you really want to spend money and order the real stuff, well, you can, but you don't have to. And besides, the only out of these two things here, two of these are really disposable. So yeah, I am not going to say, oh, go and order the online kit. I am not giving a thumbs up to the online kit. I will not do that because you can get celery salt anywhere. You can get yellow mustard anywhere. You can get yellow mustard at the dollar store. You don't need to get the official brands. So I will not say you have to order the online kit. See, that proves they're not paying me to say this. On the other hand, we've got these sport peppers. These are supposed to be these stronger than pepperoncinis, but they are not very strong. So if you want to use pepperoncinis in yours, you can do that. And then, of course, I've already talked a little bit about this relish. In fact, I've got to do one thing. Excuse me one second. I've got to do this. Let's turn off the lights here for a minute. Here we go. And let's turn off the lights. And now let's turn on, careful, here it is. Black light. I've got a black light, folks. And let's dig out this weird neon green Chicago relish. And it doesn't seem to be glowing in the dark quite as much as I'd hoped. Oh well, I was kind of hoping this thing would turn really radioactive green. Hi, Trouble, what are you doing here? Yeah, Trouble has decided to climb up my leg. Oh yeah, I'm going to have to tell you about what happened to the cats over the last few days. If you've been following my Facebook, then you know what happened to the cats. And it's a good thing, too. Anyway, so yeah, okay, that didn't seem to work as well as I'd hoped. Too bad. All right, let me turn those lights back on, folks. All right. There we go. And one more light. Hi, Trouble. Too bad. I was really hoping, like I said, that we'd have some nice radioactive relish. But anyway, as I said, this is just regular relish that they put some blue food coloring it in to make it look like this neon green relish. So yeah, you can use regular relish and you can use pepperoncini peppers. But now I'm encouraging you to do it because this turned out, as I said, better than I thought it would. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I'm glad I did it, and thank you everybody for putting up with it. Where is Miss Mobley? She was around here. I guess she might be upstairs sleeping, perhaps. Although Trouble was just climbing up my leg a few minutes ago. I can get sport peppers in Canada for only $45 a jar. It was glowing on the hot dog on the plate. Oh man, really? I didn't even see that. Hold on. What are you doing, Trouble? Oh, that's all. Okay. Okay. Hi, Trouble. Ugh. I think he wants some attention. All right. Okay, back to the group here. Okay, oh my goodness, faint shadow walker. Yeah, $45. Jalapenos is traditional in Colima, Mexico. Well, that's the other thing too. If you want to use your own local ingredients, then you certainly can. I mean, if you want to use brown mustard and if you want to use jalapenos in your hot dogs, do it. It's your hot dogs. I'm only saying that I was very pleasantly surprised with this particular combination of ingredients and flavors and taste. And Yeah, I will gladly have this again. I will have this other hot dog. I will finish off the rest of these hot dogs eventually. So this was definitely not a waste, especially so that I could do this live for you folks. So thank you very much for that. And hello, Louis J. Cast Iron Cooking. Hello, nice to see you here. Yeah, you just missed a fun thing where I just tried a Chicago style hot dog and practically had a heart attack from it. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but you can look at the playback and see how it turned out. Anyway, um, but there we are. So yeah, like okay, as I mentioned already, we've got right here, we've got again our fancy handled no, gate mark skillet as well that I use to make these hot dogs. And yeah, the interesting thing about this fancy handled skillet, it has only one pour spout. It doesn't have one on the other side. Not many cast iron pans were made with only one pour spout, but this was one of them. And again, in the background, we've got a good old BSR number 10 size Century Series skillet. And that there again has, as you know, that's when I put all of this, poppy seeds on these hot dog buns. Again, these are poppy seeds. And they did give a nice crunch to it. So, okay. Anyway, definitely gonna see the playback. Yes, exactly. I'm gonna try one with the grandkids. Please do. I mean, it's great. It's always great to try something new, and I'm hoping you're pleasantly surprised because I certainly was. Yeah, it's a right-handed skillet. Yes, yes, you could definitely say that. No question about that because that means you can pour it this way with your right hand. So yes, I think you're exactly right about that. Maybe it might actually show how tough they were trying to market those stoves back in the 1800s. I mean, considering that, granted, cast iron was dirt cheap in those days, so it really didn't cost a lot to make a throwaway set of complimentary cast iron pans. But even so, little things like a right hand, you get this stove, and you'll not only get a right-handed skillet, you'll get a left-handed skillet. That's certainly possible. All right. Had to drive home from work, so I missed a lot of video. That's all right, Nesh's River Catfishing. You could always watch the playback, so that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. The fancy handle skillet. Well, I already told the story of how I paid $25 for this plus a Griswold lid, or rather a Griswold lid plus this. But yes, this is definitely something I did not regret getting. And that's really, I think, the best thing I can say about collecting, not just cast iron, but collecting in general if you get into collecting. And I've said many times I'm trying not to be a hoarder, but every once in a while, it's like there's something where I'm glad I got this. And this is definitely one of them. I am glad that I took the plunge and got this. This is something I do not regret, and it's something I have no intention of getting rid of. Hopefully, never will. I know you never know what'll happen in the future, but with any luck, I'll be able to keep this and pass it on after I pass on. So, fancy handled pan for fancy hot dogs. Yeah, I'm glad I cooked these hot dogs in it too for that reason. And I'll say again, yeah, these are Nathan's. They are beef hot dogs, and they are cooked in butter because again, once you've cooked hot dogs in a cast iron pan, you will never be satisfied with boiled hot dogs ever again. I guarantee it. So, and that's why I had to do it this way. But um, really, no, I think I've said everything I can say. I mean, this really was not too hard to put together. The hardest thing about this was getting those weird ingredients. And like I said, you could always substitute as well, and you'd still have some decent ones. We have Oscar Mayer dogs around here. Well, making me hungry? Well, I certainly hope so. That's kind of the part of it. So, I mean, really, it's like when you cook, you really certainly want to be able to share it with others. And so making people hungry is a good thing. So, okay. Um, having said that, I still have a few minutes at least. I'm certainly open to questions as well, whether it's regarding gate marked skillets or cast iron cooking or hot dogs or pretty much any subject you want. I mean, we are still free to really toss out any questions you like as well. So, I mean, just to keep this going, leftovers are the best part. Yes, exactly. So I can only hope that the leftovers of that brisket I made earlier today turn out well tomorrow as well. I slow cooked the rest of that homemade corned beef today, and it took 9.5 hours to finally get it to the right temperature. I think it turned out well, and I've got it in the fridge now so that it'll be nice and solid for slicing tomorrow morning. So, are we going to see a lamb cake this year? I certainly hope so if I have time to do it. Part of this is that I've only had so much time between work and everything to do these videos. I mean, I've said before, these videos are kind of like a stress relief from work, and sometimes it feels like I need it. So, um, for example, I've got I've got another secret project plan that I have to do tomorrow night so that I'll have a video ready for Saturday. Because folks who know what day Saturday is, and I will probably tell you more about that on Saturday. So regarding the light, I think it came in a kit with a leather and chains. Is there any difference between a Griswold baster and a Griswold Dutch oven? Um, I'm actually at a loss about a Griswold baster. I'm guessing you're probably meaning one of those smaller 2-quart pots. At least that would be my guess. Or are you talking about the handled pot, which I'm not even sure that Griswold had? So yeah, I'm kind of running a blank on that one. I will admit that. Anybody else want to answer? Feel free to do so. I apologize. I cannot say I'm an encyclopedic expert on Griswold, unfortunately. Are you live on Saturday? I'm not planning on being live on Saturday, but who knows? I mean, I suppose it really depends on what happens that day. I mean, Saturday, as I said, well, folks who recognize the date on Saturday, who knows? I don't know. Maybe I'll build a roaring bonfire or something and cook in cast iron that way on Saturday because, of course, Saturday would be the day to do something like that. So, self-basting lid. Um, all right. Still going back here. Leftovers, best part. I saw that one already. Yeah, Trouble is getting after his toy. Yeah, actually, and that is just simply another aluminum ball, by the way, rolled up aluminum. It's like over the years, I spent enough money, got toys for these cats, and their favorite thing by far is simply a rolled up aluminum ball. Well, that's actually pretty good. So, and you should be able to see him over there. Yeah, there he is. However, all right, I guess I will tell you. Um, on Sunday, I let the cats out for the very first time since we moved here to New York. Yeah, I mean, as you know, we moved here back in August. And at that time, the cats themselves had recently, over the last spring and summer of last year, they had definitely transitioned to becoming outdoor cats, and they loved it. They were running in and out of the house all day back in Massachusetts there, until the situation changed and I had to move here to New York. And I made the decision then that because this is a brand new area and they didn't know anything at all about the area, neither did I thought it would be best, and I'll move this over now. I thought it would be best to simply keep the cats in at least through the fall and the winter so that they could accustom themselves to this new home here. And Trouble in particular here, I mean, while both of them have enjoyed themselves here, Trouble in particular has made no secret of the fact that he wanted to go out. Yeah, especially as the weather started to change this month and the birds came back, he has been meowing and pawing at the windows, and he really wanted to go out. And I promised the cats that when the temperature changed and spring started to come around March or so, I would indeed let them out. So finally, on I decided last Sunday would be the day, and so I actually removed the glass in one of those door frames. Oh yeah, here, let me give you another shot of His Majesty up there. There we are. Yeah, see what I mean? Anyway, I removed yeah, I have the video of it on YouTube, in fact. I just posted it so anybody can see it. That was the very first time I let the cats outside. And I was nervous about that because I didn't know if they would just run away and get lost. Well, it turned out so far it's been great. I let them out on Sunday, then I closed the door on Sunday night, and I let them out again on Monday and Tuesday and today. And each time I close the door at night and let them out in the morning. And they have loved it. And they have definitely become accustomed to their getting used to their new territory, because they have been staying around the house. They have been running in and out of the house all day, and they come inside when they want to take a nap or eat or use the litter box. That's interesting. Or get attention from me, and then they come back outside. So they're doing great, and I am frankly ecstatic. I love the fact that they are really enjoying themselves and they are staying close to the house and everything. They seem to be doing just fine. So I am so happy. Yes, exactly. Trouble was hesitant to go outside, but Mobley wasn't. So, however, now both of them are definitely going in and out all the time. And in fact, Trouble now at this moment, he wants to go back outside. He is at the door again. He is meowing because he wants to go out. However, here in New York, the temperature is still dropping down to the 20s at night. In fact, that we're supposed to have a snow squall tonight. One of those 5-minute blizzards that could very well cause accidents on the road. Like maybe a 5-minute whiteout. It's supposed to be scheduled at some point in the next couple of hours or so. So for that reason, I am still keeping the cats in at night. I'm thinking that when the temperature gets warm enough, like maybe around May or so, I'll be able to leave the cat door open and they'll be able to come in and out as they please. But I'm very happy that this has happened, that the cats have shown that they can be good outdoor cats, and they won't have to be stuck inside here for the rest of their lives. So I'm very happy with that. So that's my story of the cats. So, yes, I think they are happy, in fact, except with it right now when Trouble wants to go out, and I have to keep telling him, no, you can't go out, Trouble. But he'll go back out again tomorrow morning. I'd like to say I'd be able to have cats, so I'm allergic, and so is my wife. I can only say my condolences. So, did you get your electric bill taken care of? Yeah, as a matter of fact, yes. It took a good 3 or 4 months before this damn thing was finally settled. And in fact, I am now paying my electric bill manually, and I'm doing that of my own choice, because this online bill payment for the electric company is the worst I have ever seen, and I'm not trusting it. So I'm just setting myself a reminder to manually pay my electric bill every month. In fact, this month, I spent an entire week trying to pay my bill online, and every time I hit the pay button, it said, there was a problem, try again later. And I tried again and again for a full week before I finally called them up on the phone and paid over that way. So yeah, that's the New York, yeah, nice egg. The New York, I forget what S is. I guess it's New York State Electric and Gas. They have the worst online payment system I've ever seen. And if there's anything I regret for moving here to New York, it would probably be that. But I'm stuck with it unless maybe I might work with a solar company or something. I don't know. So there we go. Griswold Dutch oven and skillet lids have the same baster configuration. Okay. Oh, is that what you meant by basters? Okay, I was running a blank, but I guess you're talking about simply the circular pattern inside on the inside of a Griswold Dutch oven. Yes, that's true. Both the Dutch oven lids and the skillet lids, they do have the same circular pattern. The only real difference is that the Dutch oven does not have ears, and so the Dutch oven cover is completely round, whereas the skillet cover does have ears for the pour spouts. The unmarked Griswold Dutch ovens, like the Iron Mountain series, they actually had a different pattern. And that different pattern, I believe, is similar to what you might see in, I think it's a favorite stove and range cast iron pan, in fact. So, um, so if that's what you meant by basters, um, I have not really seen any difference in the how those lids perform. By the way, whether it's a lodge with its with its basting spikes, or a BSNR with the dimples on the inside, or the Griswold with the circular, I really have not seen any difference in how they perform on the inside. So I don't have any real comment about whether any baster, any of those lids work better than the others. I mean, it's really a matter of pride more than anything else to have a Griswold lid to go with a Griswold Dutch oven, especially since a Lodge lid will fit on a Griswold pan and a Griswold Dutch oven. So, but anybody who collects will know that, yeah, you'd want to try to get a matching lid to go with it, because it's OCD more than anything else. It's the desire to collect. Yeah. California got over 600 inches of snow this year. Well, hopefully that means they won't have a drought this summer, although I'll bet they still will anyway. So 10 miles away here, got 10 inches of snow, and we got nothing. Yeah, I know that feeling all too well. It turns out in my town, in Binghamton, where I'm living, we had it. They say this was one of the mildest winters we've had in a very long time. So, I guess all I can do is brace for next winter. And well, when it happens, it happens. I mean, what can you do? Everybody talks about the weather, but no one can do anything about it. Yep, the number 8 Lodge lid is about the closest to a universal lid around. I think it's actually more like the Wagner lid that was the closest thing to a universal lid, and all the others, including Lodge, were set to match that. Of course, Lodge lasted longer than Wagner, and now Lodge, of course, is the American brand. So you can definitely say the Lodge lid is now a universal lid. Even though finally, even Lodge abandoned the old size numbers, and you only see Lodge 10-inch lids or 10.25-inch lids. You haven't seen a Lodge number 8 lid since they finally abandoned the size numbers in the 1990s. So, all right. Yeah, sounds like you'll get that snow like mud. Yes, exactly. So, California robbed New York. They took your weather. Well, you can have it. I mean, quite frankly, having one mild winter is something that we are not going to complain about. What beer and wine would you pair with your hot dogs? I'm not a drinker. I can't answer that. Can anybody else answer that? What beer goes best with hot dogs? Well, what do they serve at the ballpark other than cheap, watered down, expensive beer? Beyond that, what kind of beer would you call that? I'd say that would probably be the kind that goes with a hot dog. And um, I live in Tornado Alley, and well, as always, then the best of luck to you. And here's hoping that you never need to use your storm cellar, because I'm certain you have one. Oh, yeah, whatever beer you like. Yeah, that's about the best answer there is to it. So, as Homer Simpson would say, beer. To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. We might get tornadoes tomorrow night. Well, again, as always, you have our best wishes, Corey Clark. So, all right. Well, now I think we've managed to get on to our regular time here. Yeah, because I mean it's because these hot dogs were so fast and easy to cook that I actually had to kind of like fill the time the last few minutes, I guess. But even so, I'm hoping folks didn't mind too much. I can only say again, though, at least I am very happy, and yeah, I've got another hot dog to eat. I'm gonna have to do that before I go to bed. Oh, gee, what a shame because yes, I enjoyed this hot dog a lot more than I thought I would, and I'm glad I tried it. And I can only say again, that's another testament to eating locally when you go on road trips, and you will not regret it. so, um, so folks, if you want to give it a try, give it a try. It has my thumbs up, and you may very well enjoy it as well. So, okay. And having said that, I guess we will head on because we've got some other things going on. It is a Wednesday night anyway, and furthermore, we've got it's a work night as always. We've got, like I said, we've got April Fool's Day coming this weekend, and we are getting close to Easter as well. So I know there are folks there who've got a lot of cooking planned for those days, and that's a good thing because cooking is fun. Cooking is supposed to be good, and cooking is supposed to be happy. So here's hoping that your cooking helps to keep everybody happy and safe. It's really about the best thing I can say, folks. But yeah, everybody stay safe and healthy as well. And keep enjoying your cast iron. What else can I say? Oh, yeah. And like, subscribe. You know the deal. Click that like button, folks. And I hope you folks enjoy my channel. We hit 49,000 subscribers last week, and we are very slowly climbing towards 50,000. And I can only thank everybody so much for being kind enough to subscribe here. So, as I said, I do this as a hobby. I'm still doing it as a hobby, and it's a lot of fun. And you folks here in this live are a big reason why it's so much fun. I mean, it's like, again, just being able to talk with you, and I hope I am talking with you and not at you on these live chats. Again, make these Cast Iron Wednesday live videos a lot of fun. So I can only thank everybody so much for that. Yeah, and thanks, and love the hot dog show. Well, yeah, if it encourages you to cook some hot dogs, please do. You don't have to make these weird Chicago hot dogs. I'll be the first to agree. This is a weird hot dog. I've never seen anything like this before. And like I said, it turned out great, and I'm very happy about that. But if you just want to simply cook some hot dogs in a cast iron pan, you can certainly do so because this is good too. And I encourage you to give it a try if you like hot dogs at all. So, on that note, I guess we will just continue on. And yeah, that's right. First Wednesday of the month. Yes, indeed. It's not going to be a work night. No. So I'm good. The Mudbrooker has asked about doing some kind of a dual live, and I'm hoping I can make that a work sometime within the next couple of weeks or so that we can both be on live at the same time and see what happens then. So who knows? Maybe we'll end up bashing each other with our cast iron pans. Now, just kidding. Um, Actually, I am looking forward to having some fun on that kind of a live chat, and we'll see what happens from there. And with that, I think we should probably get going on, folks. So thank you, everybody, again for showing up here. Everybody like Rick Stumbow and Debbie and Cynthia Wesley and Val's Black Cats Rule and Corey Clark and Alma. Still can't pronounce your name. Wasilewski, Terry Sinchef, Turner Fowler, and yes, and the Mudbrooker as well. So, so no, don't worry. I was not serious when I said that, but I am serious about looking forward to doing a dual live, and we'll see how that turns out. So everybody, just relax and enjoy your evening and keep safe. And we will do this all over again and see what happens next week. So Thank you once again, everybody. Thank you very much for your time. And most of all, see you next Wednesday.